What is up? Coming to you live from the Cat House in Montebello, California. It's time for episode 193 of Dre's Geek Philosophy Podcast. It's Monday. It's the Monday after my birthday. Hey, what's going on, everybody? I turned the big 4-1 this past weekend. This past Saturday. My birthday was on a Saturday. I guess normally I probably would have attempted to throw a party, but we're in the middle of a pandemic, so who can do such a thing? You can't. But what can I do? I celebrated because you know what? I have a built-in party now from henceforth. I have a wonderful wife and a rambunctious, precocious little son. So you know what? I was busy all day Saturday, busy in a good way, and if you watched last week's episode, we had some connection issues with my phone and the sky. But for my birthday, for those of you who don't know, we did not have Wi-Fi in this house. This house is very old, and there's various other reasons we didn't have Wi-Fi. We got by with just our hotspots, but my wife decided for my birthday, she got Wi-Fi for the house. So now we should have no connection problems, and once I get a little bit more organized, we can Skype people in a lot easier now, and maybe we'll do some other streaming from the house. I can actually handle all of my podcast business here at home and not have to sneak it in during my lunches at work. It's a big improvement, not just for our house, but also the podcast and all the associated videos and whatnot. So now for my birthday, I got that. I got some nice kicks, and I got some Tiger Balm because my son's name is Tiger, and I've been having some back issues. So the wife got me some Tiger Balm. This is not a promotional ad. It's just me saying my back feels a lot better using the power of Tiger Balm. Ding. And my brother-in-law got me this. Got me these demastered Blu-rays of Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. These are demastered, so this doesn't have any of the special edition bullshit. My stepbrother, my brother-in-law, Pablo. Shout out to him. He's not on Facebook, but if he ever catches this at any point, he can hear, hey, look at this, it's awesome. It even has like the original, like the old VHS covers and the VHS backs. This is like sweet. I'm excited to pop these in and watch the way they used to be, so to speak, without all those extra flourishes that George Lucas added because he felt they were incomplete. No, they were good. They were fine. They were a product of their era of 77, 81. Yeah, those were like really far apart. 77, 80, and 83, if memory serves. They were 3 years apart, back when they used to take their time making movies, not where they poop out sequels as fast as they can. So, but enough about the birthday stuff. Yeah, I turned 41. I'm getting older. The other awesome thing, my Destiny clan, my boys, Art, Bushy, Jisun, all of them. Han shot first. Yeah, that Han shot first. Yes, Ryan. Han shot first. Ryan Tanaka, thank you with the Han shot first. Hell yeah. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to the most. Han blasting Greedo in the face. I'm a really big Star Wars nerd. I love all the nitty gritty of the old trilogy. I love the nitty gritty of all Star Wars. Yes, I know everybody hates the current trilogy or the recent trilogy, the prequel trilogy, but I like getting into the nitty gritty, watching Star Wars. Mandalorian is coming, and that's the awesome thing now that we have Wi-Fi in the house. We don't have to we don't have to link our phone to the television to watch Mandalorian. We can just fire up my old PS4 and hit the Disney Plus app on there, and we can watch it comfortably without waiting for our phones to trip out or burning through our data. It's a great thing. So let's get into some stuff. So obviously, last week's show got cut off early. I don't know if I can should try to. I don't remember where I left off on last week's show, because last week we were talking about PS5 announcement, and I was going to talk about an Xbox bought Bethesda, but you know what? Let's worry. That was last week's problem. Let's talk about stuff that got announced today. So two conventions, obviously in the middle of this pandemic, conventions have been probably one of the biggest nerd casualties, aside from movies and everything else. But many nerds are losing their minds not being able to go to a convention. Well, San Diego Comic-Con, it's all digital. Our own East LA Cape is still available virtually. Our good friend Pete Molini and the Cape staff, they're putting out a video every week with the creator, FY. Go find them on YouTube, East LA Comic Book Art and Pop Culture Expo. Get them views. So conventions are taking a hit. I just saw literally, I guess 3 hours ago, Disney announced that their big expo that happens every other year, normally it would have been happening next August. Normally every odd year, they do their D23, where all their biggest fans can go be really big fans. And now that they save all their big announcements for that, they say, sorry, San Diego Comic-Con, we have our own show where we make our money and make our announcements. So normally it would have been August 2021, but it was just announced today that Disney D23 is moving to 2022, with the hopes that it can be operated properly without getting a bunch of people in danger. Now, beyond that, that's good, because everyone always accuses Disney of being money hungry and greedy. But look, they're not. They haven't reopened Disneyland over here in California, probably because they're not allowed to. Disney's Magical Kingdom over yonder in Florida is in pure chaos. I don't know if they're still trying to open, or because I kept hearing they're catching COVID left and right, and people going there. So I don't know if people are necessarily taking advantage. I've seen images of people going to Animal Kingdom and stuff still in the middle of this pandemic. But Disney is not all money grubbing. So they're moving their stuff. They're trying to keep people out of danger. So they're going to fight the state to reopen. Of course they're. Well, here I'm trying to give them a thimbleful of credit for moving their convention. Probably because maybe. All right, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't give them credit. Maybe the city of Anaheim is forcing them to move it. I don't know. I'm just speculating. I'm trying to be positive for once here on the show. Maybe they're being forced to move it. Maybe the city of Anaheim was like, nah, can't open your theme park. And you know what? That big convention you hold every other year, let's move it to the following year. They called out the governor. Of course they called out the governor. You know what? No. Disney is evil. Sorry, everyone. Sorry to try to put that positive narrative on Disney. Yeah. Later on, we're talking about how they have to move all their movies after the unknown success or failure of Mulan. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But D23 is moving. But also, today, something else was announced. Apparently, the people who are in charge of the Los Angeles Comic-Con, not to be confused with our East LA Cape, the LA Comic-Con is going forward in December of this year. In a couple of months. They're pushing forward for the LA Comic-Con. I was looking at this on their website, and I was just aghast. They plan on putting 12,000 people on the floor of the of the LA Comic-Con. That magical number they come up with, because they're going to, normally they only rent one side of the LA Convention Center. If you've ever been to that convention center, it's a giant convention center. Where a lot of times, when a comic book convention goes there, they usually only take one of the big halls. You got your West Hall and your South Hall. And usually, conventions, they'll run a couple of conventions at the same time. You'll have your comic convention on one side and some sort of what do you call that thing? Oh, James, they're trying to do it in person. They want to pack 12K. They're like, 12K is the magical number where that's the maximum amount of people to allow each day. And theoretically, they put up the air quotes for those of you listening. If you're watching on video, I'm doing the air quotes. Theoretically, every person will have 28 square feet, and that would leave them a 6-foot diameter. Yeah, nerds are really going to respect other people's space. Right. As my friend Joshua Jackson was saying on on Facebook. It's like, they don't even shower. You think they're gonna show up and be clean and not freaking be sloppy messes? That it's inconceivable and unbelievable. Pete, good old Pete Molini was talking about this the other day. They're pushing forward. They're guaranteeing, we're willing to refund or roll over any passes if the event does get canceled. Which I'm sure as soon as the state of California hears that these rubes, these greedy motherfuckers, these morons are trying to gather 12,000 people at the LA Convention Center, yeah, this shit's gonna get canceled ASAP because this pandemic's not under control. It's delusional to think that, like, everything will be fine. People will respect this, and they still want to have 500 vendors. Apparently, all in the one of the halls, all in one-way aisles. This is not gonna work. This is they're trying to figure out a solution for autographs. I don't know. You put the item you want autographed in a hermetically sealed envelope, and it gets put in a little cart and taken across. I'm speculating here. It gets taken across to your B or C grade celebrity 20 feet away from you, and then they have to like spray it down with Lysol and take it out, sign it, put it back in its hermetically sealed envelope, and float it back to you. Or maybe a volunteer in a hazmat suit will do that. And then you have to put your $50 in the envelope too. And they're gonna dip those $50 in hand sanitizer. Jeez. Well, I'm sure it'll all be all Venmo only, digital only, card only. There will be no cash. Place it down under UV lights. Do something. I'm sure they're gonna try to figure out something. I'm sure all these heaven knows what these poor B and C grade celebrities who normally go on these convention circuits. I didn't even think about that this whole summer. Your people, your third person, your third on the cast list for your Charmed or your Buffy the Vampire Slayer, or your fifth on the cast list who parade around and follow all these conventions. As I learned many years ago when I was working those Anaheim Comic Cons that the old Wizard World would run. It's like this is basically their weekend gig. If they don't have a job, if they don't have a TV show or a job, I remember seeing Bob Gunton. If you know that I guess the most famous thing that guy ever did was like he is the warden of the Shawshank Redemption, the prison in Shawshank Redemption. I remember he was there and he had all his pictures up of all the stuff he had done. Like some stuff from 24. That's the only other thing I can remember. That guy. All I always remember him is that terrible evil warden in the Shawshank Redemption. The actors like that. Those are the people you see. Like back in the old days, back when things were still normal. This was like 2011 or 2012, and it was the Anaheim Comic Con. This should have just been the Anaheim Media Con, because it was just a whole bunch of just parades of them. Uhura, she had her seat at the very front. It was a part of her contract. She had to have an unobstructed booth to one of the entrances. It cannot be obstructed at all. I learned this because I tried to put a line for someone more popular next to her booth, because she had a corner booth, and I was like, this other person across. Ironically, I don't remember who the more famous person was. It might have been Ray Park, good old Darth Maul. Might have been across. He had a giant line because he was an actual nice person. He was super cool. I remember he gave me a couple autographs after I helped him out for an entire day. I was babysitting his line at his booth. I used to love working these conventions, but I don't know what these celebrities are doing. I'm sure that they're desperate to get this residual income of taking $25 to $50 from these unsuspecting fans in little podunk towns. I mean, maybe in other states, are they doing conventions? I mean, obviously here in California, we're trying to lock it down here. There's a lot of people here. We have our fair share of idiots trying to lock it all down. But yeah, LA Comic Con is trying to make it happen, and I don't think so. No, it's just not good. Not a good idea. But we'll see what happens if the California state government doesn't shut it down. We could have ourselves a stupid thing happening, because it was just a few, like a month or so ago, where there was that Sturgis motorcycle rally happened against the will of, I'm sure well, I don't think it was against anyone's will. A lot of these bikers and these people, apparently didn't believe in COVID. They all got together and had a 250,000 people in one tiny city, which prior to this motorcycle rally, they had very few cases. And then you put 250,000 people from all over the Midwest in their motorcycles without their masks. And all of a sudden, oh, wow, giant COVID outbreak. Shocker. I cannot believe it. So I can't believe you put 250,000 people, many without masks, all in one place. And people were getting sick. Imagine if you got sick and died because you want to see Smash Mouth at that rally. Or Daniel Wong, any random weekend in Orange County. Yes. You want to see Smash Mouth at that rally. Oh, God. Or Chris Jericho's band, Fozzy, was at the Sturgis rally, and he's a Chris Jericho COVID. He's the COVID god, as he's been mocked incessantly on Twitter for, I didn't spread it. But nah, bro, you had a concert in the middle of this rally and gathered a shitload of people. Yeah, you weren't helping, bro. You became Judas in your own mind. That's a reference to one of his, I guess, apparently his most successful song. So yeah, that's what's it breaks my heart as a nerd I used to go to conventions. I used to love working conventions. It kind of breaks my heart that this is what's happening. There's a lot of nerds out there waiting to, like, when can I go back? It's so a few weeks ago, it should have been Dragon Con and Penny Arcade Expo Prime. I saw it because a friend of mine who I used to work with at Nintendo, she works for Penny Arcade on the charity side. She works for Child's Play, and they were doing a lot of their packs online. I think they were just doing they had done it like last weekend. Normally it's over the Labor Day weekend, but I think with all the coordinating it online, I think they've either been doing it all month on September. Or, yeah, my friend Tabitha, she's been doing some D&D streaming for them because she works for them. She's a part of the staff. She's living out her nerd dream, working with these guys. It's pretty awesome. So, and then Dragon Con. I know a lot of the East Coast nerds are really bummed out that there was no Dragon Con this past Labor Day weekend. But you know what? We just have to suck it up. A vaccine isn't going to fix this. We have to freaking stay away from each other long enough for this shit to pass. But people are not. People aren't doing it. So let's just shift gears. So something else that got announced this past week in the nerd world was good old Amazon. Apparently they're going to try their hand at game streaming, something called Luna. They're doing apparently some beta testing. They're setting up their own streaming service, much like Google did their horrible failure Stadia, which apparently people are still trying to play it. I heard to this day people are still trying to play Stadia. Some people are still trying to make Stadia a thing. Who knows? I'm not one of those people. But I guess Google will do what Google always does. They'll create something, put a little money into it, and realize this isn't going anywhere, and pull the plug. I'm looking at you, Google Plus, or anything else Google tries to do that isn't their search engine. So Amazon, so they're doing game streaming called Luna, and it's going to be $6 a month. And they were kind of fuzzy on the details of what's included. I guess you'll be able to play through your computer or through your Fire Stick. I imagine you're going to need like some sort of fancy Fire Stick. I'm sure my little Fire Stick that's connected to my TV, which is finally going to get used now that I have Wi-Fi again, I don't think that's going to cut the mustard. And they'll sell you a Luna controller for $50. But they're also partnering up with Ubisoft. I guess all of Ubisoft's brand new games will be playing on day one because they're going to launch it soon. They're going to launch it soon because if they want to come out along with Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Far Cry 6, it's going to have to come out soon. And I guess those games will be available to stream for an additional charge. Yes, Ubisoft is not going to be lumped in with that $6 a month. It sounds like you're going to have to pay extra if you want the Ubisoft games on this streaming service. It seems everyone's lining up and choosing their sides in regards to the streaming wars have extended into games. A lot of companies were put their ducks in. They put their chips in on Stadia, and that literally flopped on its face. I mean, PS5 and Xbox Series X. They're trying to push. It sounds like they're going to try to push the PlayStation Now and the Game Pass. That's the big thing now. Oh, get your Game Pass. Gotta get that Game Pass. Gotta get your PlayStation Plus with all the PS4 games, or get the. I don't know if PlayStation Now will still be a thing, because we found out the backwards compatibility on the PS5 is going to be limited to just PS4 games, because there was a pipe dream that people were having that the PS5 was going to be backwards compatible all the way back to PS1, which would have been awesome for my company, the company that I work for, because we have PS1, PS2, PS3 games. We have a fuck ton of them. If the PS5 was going to be backwards compatible with all those, that would have been a godsend for us. I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, we're going to sell a shitload of old shit, because we got a shitload of PS2 games, we got a shitload of PS3 games. But thankfully, there's still a lot of, thankfully, PS2, probably the most successful game system, it still exists, and it's still working. Well, we sell a bunch of restored ones. They're still out there. We sell a lot of PS2 games. Yeah, top 100 PS4 games. Yeah, PS4 games. I feel like they're probably just gonna make it so like it's through PlayStation Plus. You'll have the ability to download all those, and hopefully the PS4 discs over time will work. We'll see how that goes with Sony. The Xbox Series X, I guess, as far as the disc version, I guess that's still going to do everything that the Xbox One did. A side note, I guess, so like last week, the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S went up for pre-order. They went up, I think it's the day after our last week's podcast. And apparently what happened, I don't know if it's necessarily was some reselling. Oh, whoops. I tapped one of Tiger's toys. Now you're going to hear incredibly racist Asian voice in the background. Stop you. Okay. Apparently, when people, either the reseller bots or uneducated people, grandparents, parents, rubes, because of the way Xbox has named their system, I don't understand. Going all the way back to Xbox 360. I get it. They don't want to be like Sony, because Sony apparently has cornered the market. You know, PlayStation 1, PlayStation, then PlayStation 2, 3, 4, 5. I didn't want to be like them, because as far as on the Microsoft side, we've had Xbox 360, Xbox One, Xbox One X, and now Xbox Series X. So what happened? Apparently, Amazon saw a 540% increase on Xbox One X sales on the day that the pre-order started. That's very odd. Wait. Why would the old system go up in sales so drastically? I think I hear my son outside. Grandma came and took him for a walk. It's just been me by myself here in the house. My wife took the car to go get some baby stuff and offer up, and Grandma took the baby outside, but I hear him screaming. I think they're coming back from their walk. I can hear Tiger screaming. I might have to go pacify a tiger right now. But yeah, you can't be behind on numbers. It makes it inferior. You can't be behind on numbers. That's right, because it's Xbox 2 versus PS3. It sounds inferior. I understand that argument, James. But still, they need to come up with something better, because calling it the Xbox Series X when you have an Xbox One X, you either have unintelligent people or broken bots. They were buying up Xbox One X's like there was no tomorrow, but not pre-ordering Xbox Series X's. Even my boss at work, he is incredibly confused by all this. He half the time he doesn't know what we're talking about. Are we talking about the new system or the old system? because you know it's Xbox One X, Xbox Series X. It sounds like a car. Xbox Series S, Xbox One S, Xbox One X. What? Yeah, he is confused. I have it all relatively together in my brain. But if my boss, the head of one of the largest distributors, I don't know, can you guys hear that? Can you hear the tiger in the background? There's a crying tiger outside. I might have to go deal with that if Grandma's having trouble. It sounds like she got him out of the stroller. I think he's okay. And did you miss your opportunity to sell your Xbox One box new in box? You might have. There might have been a lot of opportunistic people who might have been throwing up their Xbox One X's up, and you might have been ripping off a reseller bot or a misinformed grandmother or grandfather trying to get the new Xbox for their young grandchild. It's insane. This is the grave that Microsoft has dug themselves in. Despite the fair point that James made earlier, they should have just, in order, like, even Xbox One versus PS4. Yeah, you can keep track. Yeah, it annoys the hell out of me, Ryan. I can keep track of it, but I feel like for your normal person, you can't keep track of this. It does. The only positive is that the new one keeps playing all the old games. So if you buy a game that says Xbox on it, it's gonna work on the newest one. You can pop a 360 game into an Xbox One or an Xbox One X or an Xbox Series X, and it'll work, which is awesome for our company because we have a shitload of Xbox 360 games as well. We have a shitload of games. That goes without saying. But yeah, it's nuts. And Amazon is trying to get on this, and they're gonna follow. Yeah, my boss, like, he keeps talking about, like, all these streaming services. They come and they these game streaming, like regular video streaming. Yeah, we are in the middle of the video streaming wars. Game streaming, as long as the internet sucks here in America, game streaming will not pick up any ground. I think maybe in other territories, like Japan, they have amazing internet because it's a very tiny country with a very tiny infrastructure. So yeah, I don't know about out in the country in Japan, but as far as, Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, Kobe, the larger cities or the cities with infrastructure, yeah, internet should be fine. They can stream Resident Evil 7 onto their Nintendo Switches in Japan. Yeah, we can't do that here. I don't know. Everything's going to be fiber eventually. At some point, you would think, well, is there enough fiber optic cable to get all of California? Heavens, even all of California, all of the United States? Can we make enough fiber optic cable? I guess we'll find out. We make enough telephone cables. But that's literally just like, hello, are you there? So yeah, good. Yeah, game streaming. I still think we're a good maybe 20, 30 years from reliable game streaming without incredible latency, or at least trying to enjoy it. Hell, it's hard enough to play freaking old 20-year-old games via streaming via browser at the moment. And you can barely make those work because you literally, well, a lot of times, because as Daniel Wong saw a few months ago when God, was that last year when we discovered there's a whole website where you can just basically play old PC games via browser. When I was playing Dune, even if we had the fiber, could half the country figure it out? No. That's an unequivocal no. Podunk countries are gonna be like, what the hell? How am I supposed to fiber? I don't want to poop. Fiber optic. It's like, yeah, a lot of that website where you could play browser games. I feel it was just basically these old 20, 30-year-old computer games are small enough files where it just literally just loads it into the browser. And that's how you can stream it, because you're not really streaming. You're just doing such a quick download. Such a quick download into your browser where it's like, oh, it's already loaded. We can download gigs within minutes. So these old 20 megabyte 20 megabyte games. All right, yeah, that can download in about 10 seconds. Yeah, how much would Spectrum charges for it, right? The shithead in charge of the FCC allowing these freaking internet companies to fuck us in the ass because the internet's not a utility. The internet is a luxury item. Fuck that shit. We need the goddamn internet, even though it causes so much problems. I haven't watched that. There's that documentary on Netflix right now. I forget, it's like The Social Problem. Yeah, emulation is not where it needs to be for SNES games, let alone GameCube or PS5. Yeah. And you know what's the trippiest part? Like we keep hearing stories about like these old game companies where they're having like I think we've made this example before where Squaresoft, Square Enix, a lot of those PS1 era games, they threw out the freaking original data card because back in the days it was just a bunch of dots on a card. Like for like Final Fantasy VIII, I mean that's not a great game, but it's an example of why the Final Fantasy VIII remasters have been trash because they threw it out back in 1998 or 1999 or. They're like, well, we don't need this anymore, and they just toss out the source code, literally, for a lot of these PS1 era games. So like a lot of the stuff that's what makes me sad because like the PS1 era had a really good bunch of freaking role playing games that Square. I mean, there's that one summer where they're like every month there was an amazing RPG coming out every month for a whole summer. It was ridiculous, and a lot of these. Source codes lost to the ether. There's some janitor tossed them into a fucking furnace and incinerated them. Which is why a lot of the emulation is shit. Because they're like, oh, we can't rebuild the game from the original code. So, let's rebuild this 1 million piece Lego puzzle without the instructions. Shit. Yeah, see, all right there, Jai right there. As long as Ajit Pai is running the farces, the FCC, America will stay behind the world regarding internet capability. That's true. It's true. That's the truth. It's nuts. What else is nuts? So I looked up some movie news, and within the last week, Disney/Marvel announced that basically all the Marvel movies that were supposed to come out this year. So Black Widow should have come out back in May. We should have had the Eternals with Angelina Jolie and an incredibly ripped Kumail Nanjiani. That should have been coming out in November. We should have had a Doctorverse and the Multiverse of Madness. I don't know if that was supposed to be this year or next year. All that stuff, all those movies, push it back. 2021, they're pushing all back. I don't know if this is a referendum on how Mulan did with this crazy Premium Plus. I mean, I know viewer Daniel Wong, that worked out for you because you have a family, you have a wife, you have 2 lovely daughters. $30 was nothing compared to what you probably would have had to do to go to the theater. Over $100, easy. But I guess not everyone is in that position of logically reasoning that out. So I that's what I'm guessing. This is just pure speculation on my part. I'm guessing the Mulan experiment did not go the way Disney planned, or maybe the Marvel side is a lot greedier. They are greedier, and then all the Marvel movies have been pushed back, hoping against hope that they can be shown in a theater in America. Apparently international theaters, because other countries are doing a much better job of containing their bullshit than we can. Like for example, that Christopher Nolan movie Tenet, apparently it's doing very well overseas. It's doing horrible here because only like a handful of theaters are attempted to reopen with the social distancing where there maybe like 10 people can be inside of a theater. Like, yeah, it's just math. I see when you put the math out like that, Daniel, it made sense. Some people are not following. They only see that immediate. Oh, it's costing me $30 right now. It's like, no, if you get the family, it's you're already coming out tickets alone, $80 on the spot. Even a matinee at AMC, you're still going down. Even if you go to this theater in Whittier that would let us slide on Thursday nights, if you went Thursday night bargain day, you'd still be at $24 for 4 people. A $6 bargain day, you still be at 24, not including you have little people. They're gonna ask for popcorn. They're gonna ask for sodas. They're gonna ask for a hot dog. Yeah, I usually don't agree with Jai Pollar's outrageous statements, but I have to agree with this one that he just made right now on Facebook Live. White people, anti-vaxxers, and anti-maskers need to get their shit together because I need to see Bond in theaters. Yeah, as a fellow Bond aficionado, I agree. I need to see No Time to Die in a theater. I can't be doing this on-demand bullshit for a James Bond movie. I may have almost fallen asleep during Skyfall, but I need to see James Bond in the theater. Hello. Grandma and Tiger are back. Welcome back. How's my little man? Was he crying outside a little bit? How's my little guy do? The smiley face.
Barky dogs woke him up.
Oh, barky dogs woke him up? Oh. Hey, big guy. How's my 8-month-old who looks like a 1-year-old? How are you? How's my big boy? With a big smile. Well, Daddy's almost done with the show, big man. I'll come give you a hug in a minute here. We're almost wrapped up. But yeah, 4 Marvel, like Warren right there said on Facebook Live, 4 Marvel movies next year in theory. I guess it'd be one every couple months. It seems if they can get them all out. Now, Jai, your opinion. Yeah, don't feel bad. Skyfall. There was a couple I went to go see Skyfall at midnight, and man, there's the middle part of the movie where it gets all psychedelic, and he's traveling to freaking there was that visually cool fight in the freaking shadows that almost put me to sleep. I was like, whoa. The second half of the movie, when freaking creepy ass Javier Bardem was doing some creepy stuff, I was more awake for the second half. But that first half of Skyfall, I was suffering. I remember I went to go see. It was a midnight showing. I went with a bunch of my OC nerd friends, and we all dressed up in suits because hey, that's what you do for a James Bond movie. You dress up in a suit. That was back when I was still like 220, and I had that nice gray suit that I patented. I patented that after I think Casino Royale or what was the other one? Quantum of Solace. I'm like, oh, this looks like a James Bond suit / Don Draper suit. Hey, buddy. Hey, big man. Yeah, smiley face. Spectre was hot garbage and you will die on that hill. Well, that's your opinion. You can go ahead and die on that hill. I was entertained by Spectre. I mean, it wasn't great, but you know what? It was a movie. It's a James Bond movie. They tried to do cute little callbacks, or was that Skyfall where they did all the callbacks? I forget. My memory's not as good as it used to be, and I need to sit down and rewatch all. I follow the James Bond page here on old Failbook, and they keep throwing up scenes all the time. Like, oh man, I want to watch Casino Royale again. They keep putting up scenes from Casino Royale, and I'm like, oh man, that one was so good. I want to rewatch that. Daniel Craig as James Bond. I remember people like, who? And I forgot. I after the fact, during the movie challenge, I found a bunch of movies of his from before he was James Bond. I think one of them was Layer Cake, which had every British person in it, or every British action star, so to speak, was in it, and that was actually pretty cool. I'm like, oh, this is why they made him James Bond from that movie Layer Cake. It was interesting. But yeah, Skyfall, like that. Spectre. I guess, Jai, you would consider Spectre to be Sphincter. But, that's just your opinion. You give me freaking what's-his-face. I already forget his name. But the dude who's in the Quentin Tarantino movies. Why? Christoph Waltz. See? It takes my brain a little while. The hamster on the wheel has to pedal a few times more. Yeah, Spectre was on. It was fine. I don't expect high art. I expect my James Bond movies to be passively or overtly sexist, slightly racist, very patriarchal. It's James Bond. But his next one apparently will not be. And you got Anna de Armas looking like the opposite of what she did in Knives Out. Again, passively sexist. That's what you get for a James Bond. A few years ago, I watched all the James Bond movies from that big old 20 box set, and good lord, those old ones, those movies would not fly today in our culture. Woosah, especially the one where Sean Connery was dressed as an Asian man, and they gave him the ears and the eyebrows and then that hair. It's like woof, woof. The shit you can get away with back in the days. This is what they talk about when people don't understand. Like the shit that was gotten away with before. It's like you could just straight up do shit like that, and everyone was acting like it was okay. You can't do that kind of shit now. I mean, I'm sure people still try, but what can you do? But all right. That's about 40, almost 40 plus minutes of podcasting. See right there, Jai Polidor on Facebook, like Sean Connery pretty much raped every woman he played. Yeah. It certainly seemed to be the case. It was a lot of against the will. Why don't you just enjoy this? Yikes! I feel like Pierce Brosnan was a little bit smoother. I don't recall. I was saying, I always felt that the Roger Moore Bond, I don't know if he necessarily got all that much ass. I feel like I did that rewatch a few years ago. I still can't remember. I just remember like, oh, these Roger Moore ones. So as a kid, I always thought, oh, those were funny because I had Jaws, and then some of the villains were like kooky and weird, and all the Roger Moore ones, the man with the golden gun. I forget if that was a Roger Moore one or a Sean Connery one. Now my brain is fried. I gotta find my James Bond box set and put those on and be like horrified. Now I was like, oh my god, these movies, weird. But yeah, because as a kid, I feel like my why I got really into James Bond was because when I had cable, and TBS would do their like 2 weeks of Bond. Yeah, Roger Moore and Grace Jones, weird pairing. Yeah, that's right, Warren. Yeah, I was like, there he had some interesting Bond ladies in his films. Like Pierce, he had some really hot chicks. Famke Janssen. He had peak Lois Lane, Michelle Yeoh. He had freaking peak Denise Richards. But that was when I was a little more understanding of the concept of consent. Yes, Roger Moore was not as rapey as Sean Connery. Halle Berry, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was trying to go in order. I'm like, yeah, wait, Die Another Day. Halle Berry, and yeah, Pierce Brosnan. He got like freaking yeah. He did all right. The movies weren't necessarily good. I mean, Denise Richards as a rocket scientist. I mean, really. The world is not enough. I was like I remember walking out of that and going, that was like one of the worst Bond movies I've ever seen. And just the ending, just that last line. Oh yeah, that's right, GoldenEye. Yeah, oof. I didn't even know who she was, and she was a movie. But the end of the world is not enough. I guess Christmas comes more than once a year. I was like, nope. Who wrote this? Who is responsible for this? I have to go find out if there's how did this shit get made for The World Is Not Enough. I'll be reminded of that movie at work a lot because we have the Game Boy Color game, and I believe we have the PS1 game of The World Is Not Enough. And I was just talking about how probably the quote unquote probably the best Pierce Brosnan movie was a video game. Everything or Nothing. That's when they took Pierce and peak Shannon Elizabeth with Maya and someone else. Yeah, they have Richard Kiel as Jaws. That game was a fun ass Bond movie that never actually got made. I think the bad guy was freaking what was this freaking Green Goblin, and Willem Dafoe was the bad guy in that game. Had all that was when EA were just throwing money at licensed stuff and just putting out fun license games. I saw somebody bought that today on GameCube. I'm like, oh, Everything or Nothing. I remember I rented that from work when I worked for GameStop, and that was an enjoyable like weekend. I'm like, I've been working at this video game distributor for 2 years. I keep saying I'm gonna buy myself a copy of Everything or Nothing, but right now GameCube games keep going up in price. The theme song of the game is truth. Yeah, Maya. Yeah, that's right, Maya. She was another Bond girl in that game. Yeah, that game was like, that was like, oh, it's Pierce Brosnan's best Bond movie. GoldenEye is his best actual movie, but this Everything or Nothing game, which was basically a Bond movie, that was freaking awesome. And then I think the next year they did that terrible GoldenEye Rogue Agent, trying to trade on the GoldenEye name. I was doing some research because last week, I don't know if we didn't get to talk about it a lot last week, but after the Bethesda being purchased by Microsoft, I went back and researched. I think we talked a little bit about Rare. I found out that GoldenEye for N64 came out 2 years after GoldenEye was in theaters, which that was fascinating to realize. I thought it had come out a lot closer to the movie, but of course, memory is unreliable. You can only have the actual data in front of you to tell you what the truth is. And I was like, that came out 2 years after GoldenEye, which I guess makes sense because I remember I was still in high school. I think I was probably a freshman in high school, and I think it was senior year when we used to play GoldenEye all the time on the N64 if we weren't playing Mario Kart. Back in the days when I had hair. Although honestly, I look better without hair. Yeah, Everything or Nothing. I leave you with that. Go find a copy. Maybe I can find a copy for PS2 way cheaper than I can for GameCube. I probably still have the save file for the GameCube version, but sure, I can start it over. I'll go find it for OG Xbox. I'm sure it's cheaper. I'm sure it's cheaper. Yeah, it's funny. Something else about the development of GoldenEye. Apparently, it was just supposed to be like an on-rails shooter, but they changed it to the free-roaming first-person shooter that changed the world. It changed the world, and GoldenEye inspired everything else that came after it. It is a world of shooting your friends in the face. Back when you'd look in your friend's screen to see where they were, and you cheat. I saw a meme of like how some people will be so hardcore you put 2 pieces of cardboard. You had your screen, don't look at the other screens. Don't look at the other screens. This was before online. You had to play an honor code. We were playing, my one buddy Raymond I think we did 12-person LAN Halo once. And I was just looking at other screens trying to see where to throw my grenades. I'm like, yo, where you at? Okay, here you go. I was screen cheating like a crazy person back in those days. Because the data's in front of you. Because if you're not cheating, you're not trying. And it's only cheating you can get caught in the video game. One final note. Okay, speaking of cheating in video games, I'll leave you guys one last funny story. So like, now that we have Wi-Fi, I was able to update my PS4 for the first time in about a year and a half, and thanks to my good brothers in my old Destiny clan, shout out to Kiet Fam, they put together some money for me to get my PlayStation Plus back, so I was able to access all my digital games again. I was playing on my birthday. Late at night, my wife's like, oh, you can go ahead and play some video games. I'm like, all right, I haven't gamed like this in a while. I fired up the Disney Afternoon Collection on the PS4. One of the few digital games that I had, because that game was not put in physical. And I really like to play a lot of those old games, especially Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers. And I played through that game, and so a lot of these, when they do these retro compilations, they give you the relief of a what do you call it? Of a button that lets you rewind. A little button that lets you rewind, because I'd forgotten how many cheap deaths there are in old NES games. Just the cheap, and that's how they artificially extend the life of these games. Because without all the cheap deaths in Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers, you could finish that game in about half an hour. And that's what I did, because I just kept rewinding every time. I was rewinding any hit, because I'm like, oh, when I get to the bosses, I'm going to need all 3 of the little hearts that old chip had. And I got to the end, I whipped, because as a child, I had Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers for my Nintendo Entertainment System. I remember one of my cousins had come over, and 2-player, that game is a lot easier because you're just dragging each other forward. I don't know if it was like a shared health thing or there's something to it where like as long as one of you stayed alive, you could get through. It was a battle of attrition. Grab as many of the little flowers as you can to get another one up. And just keep it going. Keep pushing forward. I don't know if you could steal lives or something like Contra, but I sat there and I cheated my way through Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers on the NES. And yeah, literally that could not have been more than 20 or 30 minutes. Each stage was like a couple minutes, and there's like maybe 12 stages, 14 if you hit every single stage. Like you could skip a few stages here and there on the map. And that's where I was like, oh, a lot of these old games, yeah. Because, your old school Mario Brothers, that was 8 times 4, that was like 32 levels. Or even more so on the Super Mario Brothers 3. Man, I was just like, this is how they got away with how they had to extend the life of these games. It was just merciless. It's like next, I might do it again, and maybe now that I have Wi-Fi here, I might just stream another half an hour or 20 minutes of Dre cheating his way through. Yeah, sounds like Double Grind. One man stays alive to finish the game. Yeah, exactly. I remember like me and that same cousin back. I think we did Ikari Warriors that way. The old Ikari Warriors on the old NES. Because I think I had one of those. My dad. My dad got me one of those 50-in-1 cartridges from downtown LA when they just like took all the ROMs and slapped it on a one cartridge, and then you have to navigate through, and only maybe about 2/3 of them actually worked. I remember one particular cartridge had like Lode Runner and Goonies 2. I'm like, Goonies 2? There was a second Goonies movie? But I guess there was a sequel game. Weird. But yeah, I remember one of those had Ikari Warriors, and then one of my cousins had come over, and we friggin' rampaged through that. Like I think it was Ikari Warriors or Commando. It was some sort of game like that, where again it was more like well, as long as one guy like right now, like Warren said, like one man stays alive. As long as one of you stayed alive, you just keep progressing, just keep pushing forward, and hope you have enough continues to get to the end. Old NES games, man. That's what I'm like on the Switch. They keep adding these new. They added a game this past month called SCAT. I'll let you research that. It was some sort of acronym, but the game wasn't really well. I might stream that one too. It played like Forgotten Worlds. I was like, this is a Forgotten Worlds ripoff. You're just floating and shooting. Might as well be R-Type. See, I know Contra, but there was a different game called Commando. It was like Ikari Warriors or Commando. It was top down. You went up the whole way. Not Contra. No, not Contra. We all know what Contra is. We all know Contra. Don't worry, we know Contra. But there is Ikari Warriors. It was an SNK game that was on the NES. Cheat code to get the extra man, yeah. Gotta get the extra man. Alright guys, I gotta go check on my little boy. Thank you guys for watching. We'll talk more old games next time on the show. As usual, make sure to follow us on social media. Follow us at DreGP Podcast on Twitter, on Instagram. If you're listening to this later, or watching this on YouTube, follow us on Facebook. Everyone who I've been talking to right here has been watching us live on Facebook. And you can hear Tiger in the background. You know what? Today was National Sons Day. Apparently today was a National Sun Day. Shout out to my son. I have a son. That's my son. It's National Sons Day. So, Ryan, you're your little boy. It's a National Sun Day for you. And trying to think of Jai, your son, Noah. Damon, I believe you have a little boy. Or two. I can't recall. My brain doesn't work that well sometimes. Daniel, you have 2 little girls. National Daughter Day was apparently a couple days ago. Or the day before. Alright. Young man's crying. Thank you for watching. Make sure to follow us. If you want to be an awesome patron. Dre's Geek Philosophy Podcast. on Patreon.com. Nathaniel, yeah, that's right. Get your boy Nathaniel. Patreon.com. Dre's Geek Philosophy. Oh, that's right. You had one boy, 2 girls. That's right. I think I was confusing you with another friend of mine who has 2 boys and 1 little girl. Instagram. When I'm just scrolling Instagram, I just see kids all the time. My friends' kids. I might actually see. That's what I should have done today. I did a sketch of my little boy. See, obviously we've made it a point not to post any photos. My wife and I don't want to put photos of our little boy up. God, it's like my phone already recognized. My phone has made a folder. It's like, oh no, who's this person? This is Tiger, and then my phone has already made a folder of all the pics of Tiger. It knows. The phone knows. We're terrified of technology. Well, once he's a little bit older, maybe we'll start posting photos. But I did a drawing of my little boy. I'll post that up on social media, so that way you guys want to see the little guy. Of course, he's made a few cameos here. He snuck his face in the show here a few times against our will. But we'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. YouTube, Dre's Geek Philosophy Podcast. Patreon.com, Dre's Geek Philosophy Podcast. All the plugs. Plug. Social Dilemma. That's right. I was trying to think of the time. I have to watch Social Dilemma. All this social media nonsense. Apparently, now that I have Wi-Fi, I can fire up the Netflix after the little guy falls asleep, and hopefully very quietly. I'll do it through my PS4, and I'll just put the earbuds on and the controller so I can watch silently to let the baby sleep. Social Dilemma. I'll try to watch that between now and next week, and I'll come back here and decry, oh my God, Facebook is horrible, even though I broadcast my show on it every week. I'm sure it'll be something along those lines. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you guys next week. Where's the finish?